Happy Black Friday.
Yeah, man. What's up, gang? How you doing?
How's everybody doing?
Is there anybody? Is there anybody? We got everybody screwed up and started late here.
I guess you guys are out shopping. For those that aren't popping in.
Our engineer is in retail, so he's running a little late tonight, so we're about 15 minutes late. No big deal. So, man, how was everybody's holiday out there, if you tuned in out there? Did it go smoothly? Did you have any temptation being around all your relatives getting all liquored up?
Yeah. It's a hard time when you're dealing with that. So I hope you were all able to get through it. I'm just going to be sending out some
Top chat, too.
Some thingies here. We have a viewer, probably me or Pappy.
We might be talking to ourselves.
We might be talking to ourselves.
I'm chopping
right
on
now.
an atomic fireball here.
Yes, I can't
Trying to
chomp
get
on
the
them.
smell of turkey seasoning off of my breath there. It's all we've been eating all day today. Is turkey and turkey-related items and sides. So, I don't want to say too much till we got a couple more confirmed viewers.
Yes,
I don't want to run out of content.
No. But happy Friday. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
I did. I went to Living Grand. Lori was sick.
Yes.
And I got to hear everybody, say what they're grateful for. Got there bright and early, and it was a very nice day. Probably had about 70, 80 people showed up. We used to have probably 200 before the stinking pandemic.
Yeah.
But it's a good comeback. It was our first live one for probably, 2 years, 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. It's always a good day. They put on a nice... It was outdoors this year, but the weather was beautiful. It was nice. Warmed up. It started about 10 o'clock. I got there about 8. Still chilly at 8 by 10 when it started. It was quite comfortable.
Yeah, I wish I would have made it because that is one of my favorite events, actually. It's a great day just to
Great day, and our friend John Kronberg did a great job as always.
Always.
He goes above and beyond.
Yes, especially.
And everybody was there. Our friends, Larry was there, Fred was there, all our friends.
And my deepest sympathies go out to the Kronbar family. They just lost their sister, so it was a very a hard day for him, I can imagine. Today was the memorial, the life memorial for her, and unfortunately, I missed that as well. I had the kiddos today, but my prayers were with the family and John. He does so much, and Saturday was our dance. The dance went very well.
Definite success.
Yes, and we had a lot of interest for the next one already, so that's really cool. I like to find that people are still interested and still having a great time, and that's what that dance is all about, just coming out and coming together and having a great time.
Right
and
now.
Just look at recovery. It's just so beautiful when you can come together like that, to have so many people in one room.
We had a full house, 250 plus probably.
Yeah, we had. It was such a great night, and
sold out at 250. Who knows? More might have snuck in. Who knows?
Yeah, well, 200 is that room, and
I was told wrong. Sorry.
And it was really a great time. It was a fun time. So the dance floor was packed as usual.
Because they had an awesome DJ.
Yes, and great music, good baskets. The 50-50 alone was awesome. So
Food was awesome as usual.
Yes.
It was the trifecta. It was good. Good time had by all.
yes,
Well, except for that one woman, but we won't talk about her.
there's always got to be one person, and that's fine.
Too funny. I made my night. I got such a laugh.
Yes. But, we're here and had a great, relaxing day today. I just had the kids. We just kind of like lounged around, played Barbies a little bit, played cars, rocked the babe, watched movies. Yesterday was on my feet all day, so I kind of chilled out and just, took it easy today, because days like this can kill me the next day. So we had our turkey sandwiches. We had our gobblers already. Did you have a gobbler yet, son? Nope. Richard has to have his gobbler. I don't know if, I'm sure Ashley does not eat a gobbler. She doesn't like cranberries. She doesn't like coleslaw, and she doesn't like stuffing. So
Not big on turkey either.
But Jackson loves turkey. She just
Imagine that. My granddaughter, who hates everything,
loves turkey. And so we'll be buying a lot of Sam's chickens and calling them turkeys, and getting some meat into her bones.
Well, she gets older, we'll just explain it all.
Yeah. Well, for the longest time, when my son was growing up, he was, he was a vegetable eater. He liked his vegetables. He wasn't real big on meat. So everything was chicken. If I made a steak, what's for dinner? Chicken. If it's liver and onions, chicken. I could never get that one past him, though. That liver and onions kind of was like, this isn't chicken, and I'm not eating it. But anything else, that's when they're little, you have to come up with whatever you need to get them to eat. And if it all else fails, ketchup and cheese will get anything down them. So,
Not my grandson. God bless him, man.
yeah, he's like his daddy. He likes to eat.
He's not picky.
No, he's definitely not picky. He loves his food. He loves to eat. He loves just, to chow down. And I love that. I love seeing him eat. And,
we're foodie people. You can't tell.
In case you
camera
couldn't
doesn't
tell.
do us justice.
And I've been wearing red all day. Fred, he's usually asleep now. He's getting to that point in life where he's in bed by 8. But hopefully he catches
he's up at
us.
like 4. My God,
Oh,
I got up early the other day. Get right. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm up. I'm reading the mail there, and Fred's only been up for 2 hours. He's making up. I'm like, Jesus, when did this guy sleep? I was up at 4.
Yeah, he was funny because I dropped off the cake to him, and the fundraiser cake, and he's like, "Oh, a little after 3." Okay, so I get there a little after 3. I'm like, "What time do you go into work?" He's like, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, "Oh no, no, can't do that." But it's nice to be home by 3 o'clock. That's for sure. But we have 4 viewers now, so we might have more in the background. You never know.
There we go. Welcome, everyone.
Yes.
They're coming in droves.
Yeah.
We realize it's a tough time of year, tough day.
Yes.
Oh, Black Friday.
Everybody's tired, and I get it.
Everybody's out there buying air fryers at like 20% off.
Yeah.
What's the big item this year? I don't even know.
I don't
What's
even
hot?
know
What's
what
hot?
the.
I think everybody, their brother's already got an air fryer, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the big item is this year. What's the big ticket item this year, son? Do you know?
I actually don't know.
I don't have any clue, and it's mostly for the kids. Like that's.
Yeah, somebody let us in a loop. What's the big hard to get toy this year? I don't know. What's the?
I know. I have. You know
the
what?
popular item for adults? Air fryers making another run this year.
Yeah. Well, I know. Now that we stream, I don't see commercials, so I don't know what's big out there. I don't know the big ticket item. I do see a lot of air fryers in the ads, though, so they must still be making their round.
I like my rotisserie oven. Set it and forget it.
Yep, set it, forget it. And I haven't pulled it out in a while, but I need to
love
because
that baby.
I got that, oh my gosh, years and years ago. And
Ron Pro Peel was a genius.
I haven't used it in a while, and I should. There's nothing like popping a roast in there, watching it spin, and the juices just dripping around. Oh, it's just delicious looking, and it smells amazing.
It's just that for what it is, it's just amazing how all it works. You look at it, it's like a piece of junk, and you go,
Yes. So if you are able to chat, throw in the chat that you're here so we know you're here and you're listening. And if you have any questions, if you have anything that you're struggling with, pop it into the chat as well. Or give us a call on our call-in line at 267-737-8031. We're here. We're listening. And if you guys are struggling with anything, let us know what you're struggling with. I'd love to be able to share the things that I've been through or that I have, been part of in groups that could be helpful to you. That's, the most important thing is that support process. Finally finding your way to a meeting that really resonates with you and helps you get through each day when your loved one is out there and, struggling, using. And I did post the other day the chair. And I just think, it's for the people that we have lost that are no longer with us. And, and before you get into this situation, the prayer is called the empty chair prayer. The pies are in the freezer, the turkey's on the list. But this Thanksgiving, oh, how a loved one will be missed. Lord Jesus, please hear our Thanksgiving prayer for those gathered around a table that has an empty chair. O Lord, comfort their hearts. We know that you are able. And let them know that this year there's another chair at heaven's table. And I love that prayer for, so many reasons. We have many empty chairs in our family. And, it's sad that they're not here with us anymore. But when you're dealing with this disease, we forget that there's many empty chairs with a loved one that is still here with us, just not able to join us at the table due to their active use. So I always try to make family members understand that they may not be here this year, but that doesn't mean that next year they can't be sitting at that chair. So always hold on to that hope that they can join you. They may be there with you next year. So, keep that in mind. That empty chair can be filled once they figure it out and they, make their way back to the family and can be stable in their recovery. So I just wanted to share that with you tonight because there's so many people. I remember, when the holidays came up, how just empty and lost I felt because, that chair was empty and, not knowing will they get better? Will they come back? Will they be joining us again? You never know. With this disease because it's such a scary disease. Not everybody makes it. And, hey, Lar. So it's very important that we remember that. Just because they're not here this year doesn't mean that it won't be here for Christmas or, next year or at the family barbecue in the summer. So, always remember there's that hope, there's that strength that we need to find to get us to that point. I hope your uncle is doing well. I hope he is back home
Yeah, definitely.
and
Yeah.
doing better. If not, I hope he is getting stronger, and hopefully he'll be strong enough to make it through Christmas without any additional complications with breathing and all that stuff. These things going around today suck.
Yeah, scary.
You
now
know,
at his age, getting a respiratory disorder, that
Yeah.
RSV or whatever.
RSV. I don't even respiratory something virus.
So anyway, I came across an interesting article today. Someone was speaking about a doctor who used to insert pellets in people in the 90s. It's actually a precursor to the Vivitrol shot. This doctor, it's Guberman, but his first name is Lance Guberman, MD. He's out of Merchantville, New Jersey. He's an addictions doctor. He's still in practice, but he came up with this system. It originated like Austria, rapid detox for heroin. It was really a good read. If anybody wants a good read, it's you can Google his name. Like I said, Lance Guberman, MD, and pellet. And the thing, it was an article that reproduced from Philadelphia Magazine. It told his whole story about it. I'm not going to give you all the details, but it was really interesting. He would actually put people under a local anesthetic. He had an anesthesiologist on board, and with different comfort meds and anti-diarrheal and anti-vomiting type medicine also. And he would insert a naltrexone pellet, 1 gram of naltrexone, under the skin, like by the stomach and all. He got the idea from the birth control, that neuro implant thing, back in the 90s. And he had great success with it, but he had a couple problems with it, too, that kind of put the nix on the whole thing. He treated over 2,100 people with great success rates. Unfortunately, there were a few patients that experienced difficulties and all. I think there were 6 he may have lost out of the 2,100. Due to different things. When you start dealing with anesthesia, man, so many people die a year just from local anesthesia, just for simple procedures. I mean, some people don't react well to anesthesia, but due to that, it was experimental type surgery, for lack of a better word. But man, they said they could do a 10-day detox in 4 hours. They could flush the system and avoid all the complications of withdrawal because of being under anesthesia. And it was really an interesting read. It was pretty cool. And I like that pharmacology end of it all there, of recovery. I just find it fascinating, the different things, the trials and tribulations people have tried. I mean, we have to try things. I mean, it's just so out of control. And he's seen this early on, this doctor. And if you read it, you'll see, he ended up with an opiate problem of his own and blah, blah, blah. And he was his first trial. He tried it on himself, and it worked well for him. But it's a good read. I'm not going to bore you with the detail. But when I see something interesting like that, I know a lot of people like to read up on that stuff. If you look him up, you'll see. He's still in practice. He still does addictions medicine and all. He doesn't do the rapid detox anymore, but in some countries they still do. And it's just interesting. That was just a little info bite there for you out there. What's the matter? Uh-oh, she's laughing. What did I do?
You didn't do
See, my wife gets into these giggle things here. It'll take a while before we figure out what it is. She'll let us know, though. It usually lasts for about 10 minutes. I have no idea why she's laughing. I don't freaking know.
I'm just trying to go through and get the things shared.
What video is this now?
I'm sorry, it just caught me
God,
really.
getting chased by a turkey? Oh, that's bad.
A pilgrim
chasing a turkey.
With a knife.
Oh my God, that is pretty funny. I was wondering where she was going. I thought it was something I said.
No, I was just trying to.
It's a goofy video. This guy dressed up with a pilgrim with a big pillbox hat, chasing a real turkey through his neighborhood with a knife in his hand.
Oh my God, that's just too funny. I'm sorry. I was just
All right.
sharing it out, and it was funny, and it just struck me. Sorry. That was awesome. I hope everybody enjoyed
I have
their.
to get back to the show here. I was looking at guy's name up. I don't know where we're at here.
Oh God, that was hysterical.
Oh,
That was great.
that was awesome. All right, now let's take things more serious here.
Okay, we'll try and get back to. I'm gonna have to share this out because it is so freaking funny.
Anyway, Mark is doing fine. He's resting in the hospital, so that's
Yes.
a good place for him right
And
now. So he
yes,
gets strong.
and he has RFD, whatever that is. That's a new one by me.
It's part of the
Tridemic.
We got the RSV, we got the flu.
Well, he has the RFD.
And flu, and we still got COVID. It's the tridemic, they're calling it. Mm-hmm. To instill more fear into our hearts.
Apparently, we have the quad.
I mean, whatever happened to all the good old diseases, the syphilis, and you know, like VD. I mean, you never hear about VD anymore. Did we eradicate VD? I don't know.
I don't know.
You never hear about it. You never heard about the friggin' flu for 2.5 years. They eradicated that, and all of a sudden it went up vengeance.
Yes.
It went from nothing the last 2 years, not one case, not one documented case of the cold or the flu, and now it's coming back with a vengeance.
A vengeance.
Please.
And it's getting scary because
Pump it up. We're up to 7 viewers tonight.
There we
Hey,
go.
gang, I appreciate you all hanging in there.
yes,
Great to have you on board. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, any topics you want us to hit on, please feel free to call in. The number's up there on the board, 267-737-8031. Feel free to call in,
yes,
ask a question, or state something maybe that you know that you found interesting.
yes.
We're friendly here.
Yep. And sometimes
And no question is not important. You know what I
and
mean?
it's
Don't
not,
think
and
your
not
question's
one,
silly.
and no questions
Bingo.
are stupid.
We got a caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
It's Dr. Larry here.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what RFD is either because that's what my cousin texted me when his father was in the hospital. So maybe he meant RSD, but
Right.
whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the one that's going around. It's a respiratory ailment.
Yeah.
It's hitting people pretty hard, so they say. Especially our frail ones, our elderly, and babies. People with, compromised immune systems. It's just another virus coming out there. They come by all the way, but, the media sensationalizes everything now. I mean, we've had viruses all our lives, Scarlett. We've never seen such sensationalizing of it, the straight fear and cause panic. Oh, yeah.
It's scary out there.
It's just,
It's failed immune system. Nobody takes care of the immune system.
No.
They don't eat healthy. They don't exercise. They don't do shit.
and they're not exposed to enough germs. Everybody's wearing masks, so now your immune system becomes compromised because your body's not fighting off all these little things like they were.
Exactly. The minute you take off the mask, you
And
get
not as
everything.
much for old people, but these young children, they got to be exposed to some germs and stuff. I mean, that's what makes you strong. Kids don't go outside and play in the dirt, the playground anymore. They're sitting at home and they're
getting
their
their
sterilized environments, so they don't build any antibodies or anything.
No, I mean we didn't have antibacterial soap when we were growing up. Now everything has antibacterial in it.
Life Boy, you know what I mean?
It's
I
crazy.
still use Zest.
Zest.
Zestfully
Clean. Yeah. Now, I remember when my son was in the band, we did a field trip to New York. They played out on one of the areas in New York, and this woman was there with her little toddler, probably a year old, and he was crawling around on the ground. And I looked at him and I pointed to him. I said, "There's a child that will never, ever be sick a day in his life. He is getting every immunity built up right now."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Everybody living in their sterilized environments here. I mean,
Yeah.
George Carlin said he used to swim in the Hudson River, and it's like if there's everything in there,
Yep.
swimming crap in the Hudson River. He says, no wonder my immune system is great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, now
Yeah,
everything's antibacterial.
Yeah,
That's the
you
truth.
can't get a built-up immune system by playing on your phone with a mask on. And you got to get outside, man, get some air.
Yeah. And driving your car alone without your mask, come on.
Oh, I love that. People driving in their car with their masks on. I love it. It's like, wow.
Gotta eat at them hot
Yeah.
dog stands downtown with a couple flies
Yes.
landing on your hot dog.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all things to build a strong immune system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eat them
I
street
guess the next
dogs.
thing is they're
look
going
like
to
we're
have
frozen.
Lysol air fresheners.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep.
instead of just a regular, pine scent air freshener, they're going to have like Lysol on it. So
Yeah.
it's the air germ-free coming out
There
of
we
your
go.
vents.
Yep.
It's,
Oh, one
It's
camera's
stupid.
frozen.
Yeah, it's
The other one's good.
it's crazy where we're at today with all this crazy illness and all. It's
So is your Thanksgiving good? I hope you're feeling better.
I am. I started with a migraine, which I have not had since 2011. I have not had a migraine. And Wednesday night, I was dying. I was actually at parent group, and it was family support group. And it just hit me really bad. So yesterday it was just sitting there lingering, waiting to reappear. So I just thought it best to not go to the gratitude
Well,
day.
me and Larry took up the slack for you. We got everything done that had to be done without you, dear.
I'm sure.
Larry beat me by like an hour.
Yeah.
And he was there for it. It was already most of the stuff was already done. All the tents were set up and all.
Yeah.
Well, we had a
Yeah,
good time.
I got there, and there's like they're putting up the last tent. The way they made it sound, like they were going to have like the big top, like Ringling Brothers. And
Yeah.
stuff. It was like 5 little tents. It's like, well, I'm glad I
Right.
got here early for this.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
we had to be there by 8:30. I got there 8:45. It was already done. And Larry said, "Yeah, I was there like an hour early. It was already done when I got here." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
But
It was a good crowd, though.
it's a great event, and it's a shame that it's being done the way it's being done today, because there's nothing more touching than to be in that big room, elbow to elbow, and listening
Yeah.
to everybody
And the
share.
patients were allowed to come.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, we had to make what the John called a demilitarized zone, Larry.
Yeah.
We had like 35 chairs set up way far away from the rest of us, like
Right.
over, beyond our hills, and the patients were allowed to come out and enjoy the meeting too.
And that's what you
One or
need.
two got up and spoke. It
Right.
was nice.
Right. And it was just great, and it was just a nice day yesterday. It's just being with everybody. I mean, it's the same 7 people that we're with every single day, but sitting around and actually watching TV they were, but just being together like that, and then sitting down and having a meal. And I actually had the turkey done early, and we ate and we cleaned
It was
up.
nice to sit down together because now everybody has jobs and careers going on, and it's hard for us
Yeah.
all to sit down at once here. It was nice for everybody to be together.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
Share some family time. That's really important.
Yes.
I was with my 2 brothers over at my one brother's house, and I got to talk to their kids and everybody else, and it's like it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get to see them that often because everybody, like you said, everybody has their own lives now, and to get together, just talk.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
pretty much in
Yeah.
general. I don't think a lot of families get together like years ago now because life is so much more fast paced now.
Yeah.
On top of people being afraid to be in groups now for fear of
Right. COVID.
spreading germs and all. So between all that, it's like those big family
Right.
gatherings have become more and more passe. It's like
And you have to remember back in the day too, that
nobody lived past 35. We're frozen again. I think we're gonna look into a new camera.
no, we have to remember that back in the day, there was one person home and one person working. So,
Yeah.
they were able to cook and plan for events with the entire family. And now today, we are in a situation where both parents are working. The kids are now working. So we have to remember that, life sucks, and everybody's working Saturdays and Sundays. Back in the day, Monday through Friday.
And millennials don't cook.
Right. That too.
Oh, I know one baby boomer doesn't cook either.
But today I was having lunch, and Jackson was eating with me, and I said, "So what was your favorite part of yesterday?" And she said, "Having everybody home at the table." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, at 5 years old, that's
great.
what she enjoyed throughout the day." I'm like, "That's awesome." For a 5-year-old to recognize that and be grateful for that.
She'd probably butter me up for a pony.
I'm sure. But it was just nice to see her reaction to that, and it being sincere. It was just really great. And, the dogs cleaned up the floor because Lane loves his food, whether it's in the air or in his mouth.
Lane eating is like a blender without a top on it.
Yeah.
You don't need those expensive self-propelled, directional vacuum cleaners when you have dogs.
Yeah, we got 2 Roombas.
We have 2 Roombas. Yeah.
Yeah. And the only thing is, they're like a vacuum cleaner because you got to take them outside to empty this bag. But
pretty
other than
much.
that,
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty
And
much
they do
so.
that very well.
yeah, I bet they do. Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad that you had a great Thanksgiving, though. That's nice.
Yeah. And it was good starting off at Living Grid and all. Give me an opportunity to talk, and there I am.
Hey, you
Yeah.
were good.
Thing that
You,
would-
you only went about a minute over. I was shocked. We all had 2 minutes, and Larry went for almost 3, and that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because John threatened to put the hook on anybody
Yeah.
wants to. He asked me
Get
to
the
be the.
cattle frog out.
He said,
Or the
"You want to
hook.
be the timekeeper?" I said, "Hell no, I don't want to be the heavy. Telling people they got to stop. That's your job."
That's your job. You have to be the heavy.
All right.
Yeah. You want to run it, you got to do the discipline end
Yeah.
of it too.
Yeah.
You got to be the bouncer, the bad boy.
Yeah.
I pretty much talk to the patients.
Uh-huh.
My message is for the patients about
It was nice
once
to
you
see
get
them
it
out
started, because the people who are in recovery up front, they've been around. They know what the game is.
Right.
'Cause they wouldn't have come back. They wouldn't have had their, And I told them basically, just when you leave the place, it's like a starting line.
Mm-hmm.
That's your starting line as in life. And as you progress, some progress faster than others. And I told them, as you get confidence in yourself, turn around and look behind you because there might be a hand reaching out for you because they're struggling. I said, grab that hand and pull them up to you because it might be reversed one day where you're falling behind and you're going to reach out and you're going to want that hand
Exactly.
to help you too. It's
Mhm.
like I told them, save yourself, but don't abandon your brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the important thing. Yeah, that was the important thing for me because I just told people, I told them this is my 6th Thanksgiving straight, and like whoopee, to me it's nice, but the important thing for me was get the message to the patients. Because the people in recovery are doing their recovery and are working recovery. Try to give the patients a little hope and understand that, this, it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
But one foot in front of the other, but you're going to have to want it. It's like you can lead that horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Which
Exactly.
is a good George Harrison song anyway, but that's beside the point. And the more you get it, the more you put into it, the better it gets. Then you get strong enough, you can help the next person along, and that gets better too.
Exactly. I was down talking to the house around the corner from us, and I was
there.
just
Recovery house. She's talking about people.
yes, I
Yeah,
was.
I know that, Blake.
Yeah, I was out talking to them. There was a few gentlemen that were out there, and I was just talking to them, and they're just so full of gratitude, and they're early, and I just kept telling them, the most important thing you can do is, work on your head, but empty out your chest, like get everything that is just sitting there, festering out, and just get rid of it, and just stay connected to the program, whatever program it is that they are looking for. So,
And most of the guys around there are like new to the recovery field. They were talking to her, that's like their first go round.
yeah.
So there's a lot of fear and doubtfulness and all. They don't know what to expect, what's going on. And they think my wife's just a crazy lady around the corner that shows up with food all the time. I don't know who else she is, but we sure thank you. Can we give you a hug?
Yeah.
And it was funny. I mean, they don't know. I mean, she shows up with turkeys and cakes and out of nowhere, and there's a big turnover there. So a lot of guys don't recognize her as being before. Like, I don't know, some lady came in the door with this giant bundt cake. I was like, and I used to go in there years ago. I'd come back from outreach down in the city, and I used to take 10 gallons of coffee, 10 gallons of hot chocolate soup. And some days, if it was a slow day, I'd have like all this hot chocolate left. I'd go around there and give them 20 large cups of hot chocolate, the big tall ones. So I didn't waste it. I mean, I used to brew up a ton of coffee, and I mean 10 gallons each. I had these giant 10-gallon thermal carafes. They're like, I don't know, some fat guy showed up with like 10 giant cups of hot chocolate and coffees, whatever it was. It was great. A lot of times we'd have some snacky stuff there that we would have left over. We could go down in the neighborhood with an arsenal of stuff, just to talk to people in active addiction and try to gain their trust. That's what it was for. We weren't down there to feed them, but we would go down there to gain their trust so we could establish some dialogue and help them when they were ready. I'm getting off on a tangent there.
Yeah, but it was.
I'm gonna hang up now. Maybe somebody else wants to talk.
Come on, Larry. You like to talk.
I know.
And I know this is your alma mater that we're talking about.
You're my dead space filler, Larry. I always count on you to bail me out. I always prompt you. That's what I say. Our number is right there. You want to call? Like, Larry calls. I hope he calls.
Well, if nobody calls, I'm not embarrassed to do a two-spot. So it doesn't matter to me.
Thank God.
I love to hear myself talk.
You're like my dance floor icebreaker. You always break the dance floor for me, get people out there dancing.
Yeah, like you say, my shoes might catch on fire.
I can always count on you.
But yeah.
All right. You have a good night, people.
You
Larry,
too.
thank you so much, bud.
Somebody else call in, would you?
I'll see you Wednesday.
Somebody call in. We'll run out of content today.
All right.
Okay. See ya.
Right,
see ya. And I don't share that.
Show,
yeah. And I don't share that I don't share that I go out and give that food to them because I'm not looking for a pat on the back or anything like that.
I think it's funny. I like to tell
we
don't do it for a pat. We do it because we like to do it.
Yeah. So, but it was just nice to have them, share with me and me share with them. So it was just nice.
And Pete Dominani just sit in meetings and everything. We like to go out to I mean, we used to love doing outreach. I mean, I really love being on the streets. I mean, I miss that. It's gotten pretty dangerous now. We kind of changed gears, like we tell you before. We now work with parents and families and spouses, and we changed gears and found out we found a void in those departments. Families are being left behind. So that's what we kind of focus on now. It's nice to get out there, talk to people, give them a little something there, brighten up their day. They even sent us pictures of the food they made. Lori brought them a turkey and all the other day. Last night they're sending her all these photos of the turkey and stuffing all the sides. All the guys sitting around the table, the recovery. They just had a really good time, man. It was touching. It was nice.
And I said next year I'm not cooking. I'm coming down there.
Hey, we went to go over there and we'll just show up with our stuff in a chair.
But it was nice. The one kid has my number and he texted me and he said, "Oh, we got 2 turkeys and we had gone out and gotten some fixins, but because of the donations they had gotten, they had extra grocery money left over. So he said we're going to take that savings and we're going to buy a few pizzas for Sunday's football game." And I was like,
awesome.
That's awesome to know that just that little tiny bit that I did was able to extend and help them on,
Yeah, because
you know,
they all pay pretty handsomely per week to stay in the recovery houses, and then out of that like comes grocery money and stuff. But it doesn't leave a whole lot for food and groceries. I mean, they're not eating like buffets every night, 5-star things. But, I don't know what they eat.
yes. But it was awesome. They just seem to be, you know,
They just like to be.
Gracious.
It's nice to be recognized. I mean, there's so many people like in that particular feel left behind. They burned so many bridges down. They feel like their families giving up on them. And like we always bring something around for Christmas and all for them, something silly like a bunch of bags up with some candy and like oh my God, they make such a fuss. I remember I brought a case of soda one day. We had so much soda left from an event. I think at Livergreen or something. And I gave them like a case of Sprite. Like when kids started hugging again, he goes, "Oh my God, this is great! Most business we had soda." I'm like, "Oh my God,
yeah,
that's sad."
But it's great, and I'm glad to see that Sunday they'll be able to hang out and have some pizza and enjoy the game. Because another issue we have is not a lot of neighbors are real happy that they're there.
I don't think any neighbors but us.
No.
I mean, neighbors don't want recovery houses in their neighborhood.
No.
I mean, they want them, but not in my backyard.
Right.
And I don't even think they even smile at these guys or say a friendly anything to them.
No. And that's
sad.
And the gentleman hugged me. He's like, "Do you mind if I hugged you?" And I said, "No." And I went over and I hugged him, and the neighbor was looking at me like, "What is she doing over there?"
People, the crazy Parker people.
It's just that's what they needed. They're not going to be home with the family for Thanksgiving. They're
we don't care what anybody thinks about it. I don't give a shit. You know what they do?
Yeah.
Love me, hate me, whatever you want.
And they might not be home for Christmas either. So you know what? They just may need that hug. They just may need that.
All part of the stigma.
Yeah.
All part of the stigma. I mean, all them people.
And
like
if you are,
you shake any of their family trees hard enough, we all know what's going to fall out of them. Addiction.
Yes, and seriously, if you live in the proximity of a recovery house, find out how many people are in there. Send them a card for Christmas. Just let them see that, people are out there and they care, because a lot of times it's not that the family doesn't love them or they just don't know what to do anymore. They've come to.
People are afraid of them too. I mean,
yeah.
like, oh my God, it's a whole house full of drug addicts.
Yeah. And, and there's some people in there that are there and have a background, but it's a background that they would have never gotten into if it wasn't for the drugs. Like, these are things they're doing to support their habit. And, I know that, but,
I didn't always think like that. So that's why I used to be that that condescending person who
exactly
looked down his nose. So I can't get mad at people for thinking like that.
No.
I'd be a friggin' hypocrite. I was that person.
right.
Until I was forced to educate myself and understand, all the ramifications of recovery and all. I mean, I thought I knew about what recovery all was, but I really didn't know anything. What it was, I had an opinion of what it was. I had no real physical knowledge of any of it. I mean, I've learned so much over the last 8 years.
7
7 years?
7 years. So yeah, it's, hey, Grace. So that's the thing. Like, people don't understand that they're trying to get their lives back together. And you know what? Sometimes they fall behind and there's relapse. That's just part of their journey. And there's not many people out there that are one and doneers. It's very far and few between. And
it happens, but it's not the norm. I mean,
right.
And it's tough to say that to people because you don't want to make them.
Oh, thanks, Grace.
Expect to have the relapse. I mean, like, oh, that's no big deal. It's normal, we don't want to say that. I mean,
right. It's
people are one and done. I mean, like I said, but it's the odds are stacked against you.
And to tell you the truth, if you really, ask somebody, and you hear it all the times in the meetings, you always hear, it's because I didn't stay in the program. I didn't reach out. I didn't, call sponsors. I didn't call
stopped
my
work- I
phone
stopped working
list.
my program. I
You
mean,
know,
it's-
I stopped working the steps, and so they're starting to do better. They go back to the neighborhood and they're hitting the same people in the same places, the same things that are causing triggers, that is causing them to pick up
you
again.
just fall into your old habits.
Yeah, if you're not connected and you don't, be careful with your surroundings, because anything could trigger you. Like if
Sure. Especially if you're early in recovery, you really got to be on guard. You really, man, look how red my face got.
Yeah.
Just then. What the
did
heck?
anybody
Just had a blood pressure spike.
has anybody out there struggled after yesterday, after this whole weekend, because it starts Wednesday night, and
Wednesday night is the biggest party night of the year. I mean,
so how did you handle it? Are you struggling because of it? That's
it's so nice eating Thanksgiving dinner without a hangover. I gotta tell you, it's awesome. Things just taste better.
but they may have said, okay, I have my support, I have my my out if I need it during the family gathering, and then they get there and they may smell it, they may,
And then you got Uncle Joe. Come on, have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And Uncle Joe, they're like, what do you mean? What's the matter? Are you sick? Like, oh,
you're not an
You
you're
don't
not
really
an
get into
out-
the whole conversation.
you're not a drunk, you're just a drug addict, you can have a drink, like, and I mean, unfortunately it happens all the time. And
that's what uneducated people, they
Right.
don't know no better. And I laugh at it because it's so true. But it's like,
yeah,
what? It's just a beer.
it's just
It's
a
not like
beer.
it's drugs. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, boy.
It's not like it's Jack Daniels, it's just a beer. And a lot of people go through that when they're coming out of treatment, and they're coming back in and starting to reconnect with the families, and
And families don't know. Like, he had a problem with pills years ago, but he's been fine for 6-7 years.
Right.
I mean, he could drink.
right.
No, he can't.
Right. And it's so important that you understand that, these are the things that may be weighing on you too. You could walk into the room and Aunt Flo decides,
Flo.
let's
Does anybody still have an Aunt Flo?
let's just put everything in red Solo cups so we don't trigger them and they don't see it. And it's like, okay, some people are triggered by red Solo cups, so it's just
People are
these
triggered just by the whole holiday.
the whole
And
holiday.
all. I mean,
Yeah.
being around family. I mean, traditions. Everybody's sitting around when drinking alcohol and telling stories, and now you're the one that can't. So now you feel like you're not enjoying your holiday to its fullest. Because of your problem, and you start beating yourself up and becoming more depressed. And so then you might want to not be in them surroundings, because it depresses you. I mean, you got to get out of your head. You got to get out of your head. You got to live your life, and you just got to push on. I mean, in the beginning it may be tough, but experiment. Like Lori says, have an escape plan. Even have an escape word. If you're there with a spouse or whatever, come up with a word. If you're really feeling the pressures of it at all, you can say, tippy toes. What's that from?
Yeah.
Seinfeld?
Yeah.
And that's like your escape plan. You say, well,
Right.
well, we got to go somewhere else, have some pie somewhere, and all that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bug out early,
And sometimes it can be just, I have to get out, and you just go, but you make sure that whoever you're there with, or whoever knows, or whoever you're close to
Right.
knows, if they see you without a word walk out that door, it's because you need to get out of that
And it
situation.
don't make any less of a person.
Nope.
It means you're using
It means
tools
you're-
that you've learned.
Exactly.
There are tools in your toolbox that you keep, and it doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't
Nope.
make you a moral failure, or that you're just taking control
You're taking care of
your
yourself.
recovery. I mean,
Yes.
your recovery has to come first. Mm-hmm. I mean, anything, you just have to. You got to get it figured out. You got to push through. It's not easy.
No.
Nobody says it's easy. If it was easy, we wouldn't have nobody with
Exactly.
substance use disorders.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not easy, but it is doable. It is capable.
And then you have the stresses of everyday life that you have to get through, and you have to learn how to manage that without using a substance to get you through it. And there's so many other ways to do that by reaching out to people. It's so important.
You know, like my grandmother, I mean, God rest her soul, she was like in her 80s. She you know, be going through a stressful thing, something would happen, the family's arguing. She'd be popping her nerve pills with her blood
pressure pills.
She,
Yeah, I'll take two today.
I'm like, Grandma, what the hell is that? What are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, she's like so self-medicated herself.
The family's coming over to eat
like,
tonight.
Oh my God,
I'm
Grandma,
taking.
so we had to find out what the hell they were.
Yeah.
I'm like, she don't know. You can't just keep popping blood pressure pills.
No.
She's 87-year-old blood pressure could drop so low she could fall out and bang her head.
Exactly. It's sad. It's sad, especially with our elderly, because our elderly, you know, they don't remember a lot of stuff, and their medications are so difficult for them to deal with as well. And we were just talking the other night, and I don't remember who it was, but we have the Monday through Sunday, or the Sunday through Saturday pill box. And it's like, well, what's going on with your pills? Well, I took mine today, and like, well, it's Sunday and that's where your pills are, but today's Tuesday. So did you take all of these in one day? Like, where's the rest of the pills? So we have to be very vigilant on
we gotta really,
our elderly.
Definitely. I mean, don't take for granted that they're all on board and know what they're doing. I mean, there's so many pills for every different thing now. I mean, and you know, the elderly get overwhelmed with this. I mean, they might have 3, 4, 5 different prescriptions. And you know, they all seem fine to you and talking and all, but they don't have the focus to really remember these things, what they've taken.
Right.
Also, you'd think, oh, you're getting one of them pill boxes.
Right.
Because did I take that? I don't want to miss it. I better take it. Make sure.
Right. And especially our elderly who are in pain most of, once they hit a certain age, most of our elderly people are in pain with arthritis, back, hips, knees, just everything. And, they're going to the rheumatologist, they're going to their family doctor, they're going to the heart doctor, they're going to every doctor out there. And here's a script, here's a script, here's a script. And they're taking it according to the doctors, but there's no communication. So if the pharmacist isn't catching it, if they're dealing with more than one pharmacist,
are watching much closer now.
Yeah,
things, especially
but they're still
opiates.
Getting through.
But they might be using more than one pharmacy, and I know all the pharmacies now are supposed to be networked together. When your name comes up, they should have a list of whatever you've been prescribed you're taking, and hopefully they catch all this. Because, like Lloyd said, you might have 3 or 4 different doctors.
Mm-hmm. And they're saying, like, okay, I am taking it as prescribed by how many doctors? Like, that's the issue. And no, they haven't taken it for maybe 4 days, 5 days, because it's been warm and, they're not feeling the pain that they did for 4 days.
But we did get that big giant pill box from my grandmother. We would load it up day by day. So
day by day.
That helped. That seemed to help dramatically.
Right. But it got to the point where it wasn't helping, and she was getting confused, and she was filling them without us there. And it was just like, you have no choice. You have to come home with somebody. Nobody's going to go with you.
Especially the elderly, they don't want to admit that they're
right.
not capable of doing things, and they want to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But with all these medications now, it just makes it so much more frightening. And that brings up to another thing. We have elderly relatives that have a friggin' arsenal
medication.
prescribed medications in their medicine cabinets. You know, and like the grandchildren and all might have a substance use disorder, and they catch on to that real quick, and they don't keep track. They're not going to notice a couple of pills here or there missing, you know. And so we got to watch, you know, if your parents are elderly, and you have children that have a history with substance use disorder, you should really address their medication over there, because they're over there visiting grandma more and more, and for not the best of reasons. I mean, they go in there and hit the pills, and it happens a lot.
Right. And I don't know if anybody realizes this either, but there's so many people that are struggling, especially in our laborers. So you have somebody coming in, and it's a plumber, it's a carpenter, it's the cable guy. You have so many people coming in and like, oh, can I use your bathroom? And
especially the elderly. My grandmother would have contractors in her house
all the time.
I think she'd hire just for somebody to talk to her. She'd replace her kitchen floor every 2 years. Like, you just put this floor, like, but she'd have all these strangers in the house. I'd be like, what? Get that the hell out of there. What's going on?
Yeah. And you don't know, you need this medication. It's in a pill thing, but it's not locked up, and it's out in the open, or it's in the bathroom medicine cabinet, which we have to be very proactive with our elderly and with ourselves. When we have our medication, lock it up, hide it, whatever. You don't know that you're dealing with somebody in active addiction until you do. Like,
quick story of my grandmother. She had the contractor coming in, and she had the metal grates over the windows and everything. She lives down in South Philadelphia. Real nice house. Yeah, her house was perfect. Kept everything, I mean. But here, lo and behold, this guy finds her hide a key. Well, we got a call.
We have a caller.
Hello, caller.
Well, hello.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm freaking fantastic.
That is awesome.
That's
How
good to
was your
hear.
Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was good.
Awesome.
Today was better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that.
I think I may have gotten a good job.
Oh, really? Awesome.
I know, right?
And what will you be doing?
Property management.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right up your alley.
Hey, how do you know who this is? Doctors.
Because I do. Now,
We're very good at what we do.
yes. Are you close? Will it be close to where you live?
Yes and no. So the home office is only about 35 miles from where I live.
Uh-huh.
However, we have property that's a 2.5 hour drive away.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Well, they pay mileage, so I'm not worried.
Well, that's good. That's
Right?
good.
That's a big,
yes.
That's a big commute every day. I mean, could you live on premises, or?
No.
That's 5 hours of driving a day.
Well, yeah, but we don't go down to that property every day. It's just like once a week.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay then.
Well, that's
So,
not
yeah.
too bad. But still, 35 miles to the office kind of sucks.
Yeah, but I'm used to that kind of commute. So
Yes, and it will get you where you want to be in your life, and that's what's awesome about it.
Well, that's all. That's
Right.
great news. That's great news to hear for you there, sweetie.
I'm super stoked. I'll know for sure tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
sometime. But yeah,
And the other issue that you're having, how's that going?
yeah, later date.
Okay, awesome.
So I have a question about this whole new platform.
Yes,
Does that mean we can no longer type active in the live?
you can if you're on your phone or a computer. If
Okay.
you have to subscribe, like, and share. I think there's a whole thing there as well. You have to have the YouTube app. You can't just go in through, I guess, the link that I send. They have to have the actual app.
If you do go on through a smart TV, you can put us on your big TV if you have a smart TV that has the YouTube app built into it. But if you want to type into us, you have to also go on your phone
Or your
at the same time simultaneously, so you can type in, messages to us.
Okay.
So you got a double log one.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Which is
had to
what
go
I
to
do.
this format. We were having too many troubles with Facebook, and they're like a
Right.
communist regime complaining about our music. You're playing copyrighted music. We're like, yeah, we know the engineer behind us. It's his
Owns
music.
it.
He owns it. He performed it. And we're in his studio. It's our music. But they're like robots there, and they're so threatening, and it was ridiculous. And then they're trying to send you things. If you send us $15 a month, we can get your message out to more people. Like what? Like they're like salesmen. It was so. We went over to YouTube. YouTube's more friendly.
Yes.
And it's great. We're not monetized or anything through YouTube, so when we ask for likes, we're just trying to get the show more popular. We don't get any bumps or anything with the more people that tune in or nothing. We're not even interested in that route. We like doing what we do. We're not a nonprofit organization, any of that. We don't ask for any donations of any kind. We just ask you to tune in and be a part of the show, and that's all we need.
Yeah.
We have a low overhead.
Very low.
So it's great, but we just want to get the show out to more people, to help more people that are lost, and it's a different, more friendly format here, and we joke around. It's not all doom and gloom, as we talked to you many times. You're a good
Right.
friend of the show.
Yes.
But some of the people tuning in and all, they don't know what to expect, and
And I am learning, as much as I can.
And we've had a problem with a lot of people changing over to this format for whatever reason, being having a hard time figuring it out. But hopefully we get them all back,
Yeah.
because the YouTube was just, Facebook was just too threatening. They're always threatening us. There's one
Right,
like
and that's
we're doing a recovery
stupid.
show.
Right. And they think it's a business, and it's just like it's not. What did Ashley say? I always say I'm a zero profit, but she said no, you're not. You're because you always are putting out money. So.
Right.
We do it because we like what we do. We're not in it for the money. That's for
No, we're definitely
Right.
not.
sure. Like
So
I
that's
said,
just like the recovery platform on TikTok.
I
But people are constantly getting banned
yeah.
for promoting recovery, and it's like, come on, are you kidding me?
Yes.
Yeah,
and I'm nervous about that too, because they look at it as a business, and it's just
we
like
promote recovery places that we're very close with and we're very friendly with. We don't really do it to make them money, but they're people that we trust and that we deal with on a constant basis. So, we talk about certain places quite frequently. Pardon me on here, but we don't like try to sell places like, you gotta try such and such recovery. I mean, they got a great. No, we don't. We're not an advertising platform for them, but we are very friendly towards people that we're friendly with. I mean, we volunteer a lot of our time with the Living Good organization. We love them people. They've been very good to us, and we help them at every time we can in any way. But all these fly-by-night outfits, there's a million of them. I mean, you got
Everywhere you turn.
to be careful. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made in recovery. A lot of people exploit it and jump on a bandwagon for sometimes in the beginning for all the right reasons, but it doesn't take long to end up going down that slippery slope. And when money's to be made and greed kicks in, we see many of them fold because of that. It gets the
Right.
better of them. I mean,
and I do this because everybody wants money, and here's a place you can come, and you don't have to pass the bucket, you don't have to do
because once you get a building and this and that, now you got a lot of overhead. You know what I mean? You got insurances, you got utilities, you got this, that. We have very low overhead here at the studio. I mean, the studio's already here. Our director here allows us to come in here one night a week free of charge.
And I know
and
there's
sit
a
here and just and do our show. So it doesn't cost us anything, except for
And
the,
look, there's no travel.
right. And there is a program out there that is struggling because they did the COVID thing. They went through Zoom, and guess what? Nobody's going back to the in-person meetings. They're staying with the
Right.
Zooms. So guess what? Nobody's passing a bucket. Nobody's, supporting that particular program. And I'm sure there's many programs out there that are feeling that. And it's a
Absolutely.
shame because there are a lot of programs that are so helpful to people.
and Zoom costs you money. Zoom isn't a free platform.
Right. It is not a free platform, but if you're not passing a bucket, then you're not making, the money to supply you with brochures, with pamphlets, with literature, with anything.
Sure. I mean,
So-
people here nonprofit, they just think they don't make no profit. Well, you have to make income though to support your nonprofit. They don't run on air. You know what I mean? Like Lori said, I mean they got utilities and this and that, but they're not. They're a tax exempt non for profit organization.
Right.
So
And a
it's
lot,
confusing to some people, but
yeah,
I
but
mean
even a lot of these places have to pay some sort of rent.
so they rely on grants and donations and such, but they don't generate income per se, but they do get monies through different avenues to support the organization. I mean, look at your big giant organization, the Red Cross, the Susan B. Komen Foundation. I mean, they got operating costs in the millions just to operate. I mean, that's off the top. I mean, that's just to keep the whole thing afloat. I mean,
And they probably only
and they're a non-for-profit organization.
Right.
They got like $1 million operating budgets.
and only 1% goes to the research. Like, and I
Right,
know
I
it's
mean,
more
out of all
than
the
that,
money,
but
only a
Not
small
much.
percentage.
Right.
I mean, even the American Red Cross is only a small percentage of all that money actually goes to it. I mean, the rest is operating budgets, and you got to pay for all the vehicles and everything else, and people get salaries. And these big organizations, they have salaried people that don't work for free. That they're not volunteers. They have people on salary.
right. And
Whereas
even
us, we're volunteers.
and even your programs out there are volunteer based, but they still have to get the supplies from somebody. So they do have it's a smaller overhead,
I
but
mean, their administrators take a salary and all, because a lot of people, I mean, they get so big and involved, they can't work their everyday job. They're too busy running the foundation, so they
Right.
need money to eat, and then
Yep.
that's when it starts getting scary and ugly. Then they get an employee, and they have now you got two people getting paid, and now you got to get more money, and then.
now
Hey,
you
I
got
mean,
people watching you, and like I don't want all that shit. That's just not something I keep getting these emails like, oh, I see you moved to YouTube, and call me and we'll talk, and I'll show you how to make
get you out
money
there,
and
get
make.
you more
I'm like,
viewers and
no,
get you out there, and
no.
and if you like
And
I said,
you'll
if you
be
pay,
making money.
X amount of money, we can distribute your show to more people. I mean, it's crazy out there.
Yeah.
What goes
Yep.
on?
And so I try to stay on top of that so that I don't get people coming in and trying to.
But I want to be like one of them people on YouTube that lives on a boat and has people sponsor them and they get monetized money, and I can just sail around the whole world on my boat and not have to work and just blog. You ever see
Yeah.
any of them shows on there? I am so jealous of these people.
That will never happen here. So just so you know, that will never
These
happen
bloggers,
here.
man, it's great.
As long as my producer doesn't start charging me, we're good.
Right.
But
So, remember when I was asking you if you knew anybody in Virginia?
yes,
So, update. That young man, through a whole bunch of people and networking outside of, people I know, people you know, I mean, just this person had this information. He successfully made it to a program,
awesome.
has 5 days, 4 days,
Awesome.
clean and sober now,
Awesome.
right?
Yes. And it
Yep.
it's so great when you have the resources to help somebody that doesn't really know the system.
It's hard to traverse the system without contacts. I mean, and we're getting a good contact base we're building. We know a lot of people who know a lot of people.
Right.
To do it on your own is very, very difficult.
I can't do it on my own because
and you can easily get flustered.
right.
I mean, it's why
Absolutely.
we have parents and all contact us. Like they try, they do their best, but you just keep hitting closed doors and
Right.
and brick walls, and you can't get through. And everybody lies. We don't have a bed. We don't have a bed. Or if you got the right connections, everybody has a bed.
Right.
I mean, but you just got to
all about
get
the
to the right person.
Right.
And it's it's a shell game. It's tough.
And
Like I said, we're meeting more and more people every
Right.
year, and we
and my connections are through people that are nonprofits and what have you, because they raise the funds to get
Yep.
people into treatment, so they have the connections. I don't raise
You're gonna
funds.
see us at events. Oh, we're like politicians. We're all going around talking to each other, shaking hands, saying hi. This is my name, my blah, giving a card. That's the way you network in this business. You got to go to these events and meet all the insurance people. I mean, the different insurance companies all go to these events that offer different types of public and private insurances. I mean, this and that, and all these different recovery based type systems, hospitals. They're all of these things. So you go around shaking hands and smiling and talking to people. And that's how you build a base, people, and say, hey, this is Pappy. I met you at the such and such show. I got a guy struggling. Can you do anything for me? And it works. That's what you got to do, because people get frustrated so quick trying to get help for their loved
Right.
ones. And it's business like, I give up. I don't know what else to do.
And it's hard because, especially for the family members that have, like, people give them the resources and they're calling, and they're like, well, we need them to call. And it's just like, well, they don't have a phone. They're homeless. They can't come home to here
Right.
to use my phone because they'll rob me blind if they walk in the door, and I can't get them out once they cross that threshold. Like, so it's so frustrating because when you do call for the support and the help, they want to talk to that person, and
Are we going to go a little longer tonight?
then they're unable to. No, not necessarily. It's I don't know what.
16 people.
Yeah, it's up to Richard. I mean, okay, we're fine. We can go a little longer because we did start a little late. And only
I'll tell you that this young man, with the help of, I want to say, 4 or 5 different people in 4 or 5 different states, and Uber, each, like, people pitched in. Okay, we got him from the place that he was at. We got him in an Uber to go X amount of miles. Somebody else called, got him an Uber from a random McDonald's in the middle of nowhere to this place. Then
Right.
another person called for another Uber. And it amazes me that, the recovery community so often can pull together and absolutely pull rabbits out of their hats.
People don't realize how large the recovery community is. It's
Right.
huge. It is huge.
right,
Yes, it
because there's so many that are sticking to their anonymous, program.
Uh-huh.
They don't, because of whether it's work, family, whatever, they stay anonymous. So people don't
Yep.
realize, that you can talk through meetings and make those connections and
Yep.
and get the help that's needed out there, because we so need connections.
Connection, I have a friend who says connection is our superpower.
Yes, it is. It is. And
Absolutely.
in this type of situation, it's all about connection.
But in the recovery community, they may not be as generous to like a girls' softball team or this and that, but if it's recovery based, It's amazing. I mean, how people want to give to help somebody else out. I know. I mean, I work a lot of fundraisers in the recovery community, and I see how generous everybody is. I mean, and it's touching. It really is. I mean,
Absolutely.
and because you're giving back to something that helped you. I mean, because everybody's always out there not panhandling, but everybody's out there for looking for donations for this and that, to different youth organizations and these other. But when it's something that really strikes home with you in the recovery community, I mean, they don't mind stepping up to the plate and getting somebody an Uber, like you said, or this and that, with their own expense. Because they know the money's going to a good cause and they know where the money's going. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's going to Uber and they're going to take them to such a place. It's not just a blind donation where you don't know where the funds are being put in place.
Right.
Right. It's not putting, like, in the situation that I'm referring to, it wasn't putting cash in an active addict's pocket or hand for
Right.
them to make a poor choice.
Right.
Sure.
And it just, it was absolutely awesome to see how everything finally fell into place.
Yes. And there's
And then,
nothing more beautiful.
then to see him say, hey, I'm here, I'm doing good, a little overwhelmed, but I'm here and I'm safe.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yep.
awesome.
Yep. It is.
Great
It's
news to hear, man. We love to hear success stories. Success stories are great in this whole recovery field because we have a tendency to not hear as many success stories as we do unsuccessful stories. But
Right.
recovery works if you work it.
yeah.
I
It's
mean, I see the living proof of it every day. And I see the unsuccessful side every day too. But that's you just keep pushing through one day at a time, and eventually things come around. And it's a constant. You constantly got to work at it. It's like I said, it's not easy, but it is doable.
yes. It is.
Right.
But that's a great story you share with us there,
Yes.
Mrs. T.
Yes, and I love that. I love that. I just, I love hearing these stories, because it gets frustrating when you're helping, and they keep leaving, because you
Right.
think, oh my gosh, that's one favor I just used up, but I have to keep remembering that this is what they're used to. That it's not.
Right.
It's not.
I see Alexa flash number. Did I
It's-
say something?
It's not it's normal, it's common, so they don't hold it against you. That's another thing that I really love about the recovery process is when the people we're helping leave, and they just take off, AMA or from the recovery houses. It's
Right.
it's the disease, and they're aware of it, and they know that that's what happens and that's what can happen. So
Absolutely.
that's the other things, other illnesses like that. That's not going to be something that they're going to handle lightly, because it's they're poor choices. And,
Right.
Addiction is full of poor choices because they don't know any better. They don't know how to, stay and follow through because the pain just hurts so much.
And
And
everything else, and like I always say, we always look at their choices and don't understand them, and I always have to remind people that we're looking at it with a healthy brain. Sometimes their choices will never make sense to us, and that's normal. It's the way it is. I mean, and by saying that, I see, especially a lot of parents and spousal, I see their eyes lighting up, and that's something plausible they can wrap their head around that makes sense of so many actions. I mean, they don't realize that. I mean, it's a disease. It's a disease of the brain. I mean, it causes you to make bad decisions and such. I mean, and it's very hard for people to understand this is a disease, a lot of people, and it takes a while for them to come to grips with that.
hey, there's a lot of people that are actively using or in recovery themselves that don't believe it's a disease. And that's
Right.
fine. If that's your choice, that's your belief, then that's your belief. Writing on the wall, it has been proven scientifically that it is, but not everybody believes that. And hey, I'm not going to argue with you.
But
You know?
we've all got our own opinions and beliefs. You know, that's what makes the world go round.
Exactly.
We won't argue with that, and we won't question your method of recovery. I mean, there's a lot
Nope.
of different methods of recovery. I mean, everybody's different, so we're not going to judge you by whatever choice you pick. I mean, if you want to
Absolutely.
go through abstinence, or if you want to go through a MAT type program or a 12-stepper, you know, I
Or
mean,
SMART.
whatever works for you.
Right.
Yep.
You know, it's
But you'll see, you'll see rooms, you'll see 12-steppers and MAT people clashing, man. It's
Oh,
like,
boy.
you know,
right.
and it's, you know, it's like it's beliefs. I mean, but you know, we have to stay neutral here, us, because we deal with so many organizations, and you know, we don't want to be accused of pushing one thing over another. But
No.
we don't.
No.
But yeah, we try to keep, you know.
I
keep
think
it- keep
I
it
think it's
neutral.
very important that you first try the 12 steps so that you know, you see where your willpower is, you see if it's helpful to you, and if that's not your program, then find your program. Whatever program keeps you alive,
Yep. There you
that's the one that you should be doing. And you know, I know a handful of people that may not be using, you know, heroin or you know, the opiates or the other, I always mess up the word, but benzodiazepines.
Bust it up there.
Bleh. So but they drink.
go. Right.
And, you know, I think that's a scary thing, because some people, depending on where their brains are at the time, what they're dealing with in life, that can be something that's detrimental and bringing them right back to the things they say they don't want to do.
They'll say,
But,
I don't want to give up everything at once.
Right.
I'm
And
going to
Right.
give this up and then that up. And then,
so I mean,
we got to
I'm
bite our
not
tongue sometimes. Yeah, so,
You
well,
know,
that
I'm
would
not-
be my recommendation, but
right.
whatever works for you.
Right. And I'm not going to judge or hold anybody accountable for what choices they make. This is what needs to keep you alive, then that's what needs to keep you alive. And that I'll never say, you know, that's the wrong path, because I don't know what you're dealing with. So
Right. Well, I'll tell you right now, I've noticed a huge influx of people saying, well, I'm in recovery and I'm clean, but only from my drug of choice.
right.
So if my DOC is heroin, but I'm using methamphetamines, that's okay.
Right.
No, it's not.
People like to put twist on things that make it sound like they're doing a good thing.
Right.
And
And
they customize their recovery and
that's a step towards their recovery. They are in recovery. Are they clean and sober? You know, that's the opinions of, you know, whoever's dealing with it, you know, and you have to do what you have to do for yourself, what's best for yourself and keeps you alive. And that's
Yep.
the number one thing. We are losing way too many
it's
people
frightening
today.
the amount of people, and it's growing exponentially. Man, now there's a word for me. I mean, you know, and like people, and like sometimes numbers seem to be plateauing off. Well, that's because like especially with opiates and heroin, there is such a massive distribution of naloxone / Narcan out there. That's why we're seeing a reduction somewhat, but there's no reduction of people starting up using or reduction in people using.
Right.
More people are
Right.
starting to survive, you know, because of, you know, naltrexone or naloxone. But there's so many words. I've been reading so much stuff today, but you know, so that you get like a false hope there sometimes. You know, you'll see some cities like, oh, our opioid overdoses dropped 3%, so they have 5%. That's because you had this massive distribution of Narcan throughout your whole city. I mean, you got probably twice as many people using as you did 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still growing, but people are surviving more. It's not addressing the base problem of the matter,
Right.
the addiction in the
Yep.
first place, and the massive distribution of friggin' fentanyl. It's in everything. It's everywhere. It's cheap. It's coming across the border in by the truckloads, and
Yep.
it's not being addressed. It's in the whole drug stream. It's in everything anymore. You know, but I don't want to hear about your 5% less overdose. You're not treating the base problem. You got more people surviving, maybe, but you got twice as many that are suffering.
Yes. And it's scary.
And I'm not
It's
knocking
sad.
at distribution. That's great. It's been around since 1961. It's such a lifesaver. I mean, and I'm glad they're mass distributing. You know, you got a lot of controversy over that. A lot of naysayers. You know, and you hear that same horse shit statement like, "Oh, why don't you get free EpiPens and free insulin?" I mean, it's such a cookie cutter response. I'm so freaking tired of hearing it from everybody. I mean, it's just like when you go in the ambulance and they got to put the defibrillator on you. You know, it's bringing you back to life. It's saving your life instantaneously. There, it's not creating a better sense of your life.
Right.
You know, that's like insulin. That gives you a better sense of life. You're able to deal with your disease. You know, it's not
It's
a once in a while
maintaining-
thing like because your
No.
sugar's high, you're just going to hit some insulin. Here.
Right.
No,
It's maintaining
and people
against.
aren't living on a steady diet of Narcan. It's just
No.
like hit somebody with the paddles, man, bringing them back. Mm-hmm. You know, and then the EpiPen thing. Oh yeah. You know.
And a lot of these organizations are raising money to get the
Right,
the
it's private
Narcan. It's
funds.
not.
I mean, they got fundraisers and they donate it to different. Everybody thinks it's coming out of taxpayers' pockets. No, not entirely. Not
No.
entirely at all. It's a lot of organizations that donate it. I mean, I know that for a fact.
Yep.
You know, and organizations want to band together. How about the American Diabetes Association that donates a bunch of insulin to low-income people? How about they all come? You know what I mean? I'm not being a smartass, but I'm being a smartass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, where's these groups? There's a lot of diabetics in the world, a friggin' ton of them.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't they band together and start, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And all these people with these allergies, these children with the nut allergies and this allergies, with the EpiPens. I mean, EpiPens are ridiculously expensive. Why? Because we allow the pharmaceutical companies to do that.
Exactly.
Okay, let's address that issue there. And then you can make them a little more. Or how about you start your own organization, the American Nut Allergies Association, and band together and get these poor people's kids EpiPens. No, it's like they're waiting somebody else to do it for them. Well, that's not the case in the recovery community. They're doing it themselves to get this stuff to people on the street.
Exactly, because they have somebody actively using and they know what can happen, or they have lost a loved one.
Right.
And that's why we're so we band together.
Is there two parents out there that have diabetes show at night? I'm sure there is. I mean, I would love to say it like we do. I mean, we do because our child, developed an addiction to heroin. I mean, and we, a lot of people came to bat for him and got him, the help he needed. Also, we feel like we got to give back. That's why we do what we do. I mean, maybe there'll be some parents out there, that do an EpiPen showers on. I mean, that cause awareness and cause a movement. You gotta get out there. You gotta talk. You gotta help people. You can't wait for someone else to always come and help you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody just always sit and wait for the government to wipe their ass and to do everything for them. I mean, sometimes you got to take matters into your own hand and move forward.
Yes.
Really do. Oh, that felt good. That felt good. Boy, look how red my face got on that one.
All right. Well, I love you guys.
Well,
I just wanted to.
Yes, thank
Sweetie,
you
we
for
always
sharing
enjoy
that.
we always
Thank
enjoy
you.
you
I
hitting
love
us
you
up.
guys and
Yes.
share some hope.
Thank you for sharing that. Hope is what this is all about. And
We're hope dealers.
no, we're not.
That's right.
Somebody owns that.
I don't know shit. Out of here.
All right, girl, you take it easy. And
All right.
All right, be safe. Keep us in tune. What's going on here?
yes, good luck.
Don't be a stranger and disappear like you like to do.
Yes.
I've been trying to do better.
All right, no,
Okay.
you're good. I heard from you twice in 1 week.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
I know.
great.
Watch out.
That's great.
Put that on the calendar.
There you go.
All right, sweetie. Hey, thanks a lot.
All right,
I love
honey.
you guys.
We
Take
love you
care.
too.
Good night.
All right,
Good night. Well, guys, it is 10:46, and we are
We got 16 viewers out there still. Awesome.
yes,
We
and
don't know who the hell you are, but we love you all the same. And it doesn't give us that option to see who you are. But
yes,
we know a lot of these are sandbagging out there in the background. Just tune in every week, and we love you for that.
yes,
I mean, you ever want to call in anonymously or something there, that's fine. You know, if you got a question or a tip, something you think we ought to hit on, a subject, I mean, we'd love to hear from you.
yes.
Or even call Lori privately on that number up there, 267-737-8031. You could call after the show. That goes directly to her phone. So, I mean, anybody, you guys can call her with any questions or any suggestions, you know, for future shows. Or if you're struggling with a problem and you need some help, an answer to something. I mean, don't be shy. I mean, that's not going to help you by being shy and anonymous. I mean, you can be anonymous, but don't not reach out somehow. Even if you have to reach out anonymous, don't just sit there in the shadows and, you know, and dwell on things and worry about things. I mean, the help is out there. Help is out there, whether it's you or a loved one. I mean, recovery works if you work it, man. And
Yes.
that's all I got.
Yeah. So with that being said, it's 10:47, 8 maybe now. Everybody have a great week. Happy shopping, because now it's going to be crazy shopping season.
And the big holidays rolling up on us, man. I mean, you got to stay vigilant and strong.
And
it's
please,
a tough season for people in recovery.
right? And please reach out when you're not hearing from somebody that you normally hear from. Reach out, pick them up, help them. Don't, like Larry said, don't leave your brother alone. Like
Always look back, man. See anybody's reaching their hand forward. It's a great analogy he puts there, and reach back and pull them up with you, man.
Yes.
Help them out.
So important. It's the worst time of the year right now for people that have mental illness or are suffering from addiction. So,
And remember, a lot of times they're co-occurring conditions, mental illness and addiction. It's very common. So don't be embarrassed or ashamed. It's very common. It's very normal.
and give back. Helping the next person is giving back and saving a life. I mean, that's what this is about, saving a life, making someone feel that their life is worth living. And that's so important. So just keep doing that. Give the gift of life. That's the greatest gift you can give anybody. That's the greatest gift you can give a parent, a spouse, a family member, a friend.
And remember, nobody with diabetes or food allergies were harmed during the production of the show. I'm sure I ruffled a few feathers out there about that one.
I'm sure. But with that being said, everybody, we are here. We're always available to talk to.
Every Friday, we start at 9. We had to start a little late tonight, did a Black Friday.
Right. And we may be having some late starts because it is Christmas season. And
Our director is in retail.
if you haven't seen us, if you don't see us, check on Living Hopeful on the Facebook page. And I will post there because I don't know how to post here if that occurs. So with that being said, everybody, have a great week. We're here if you need to talk. And, if you have any ideas or suggestions of topics that you want to talk about, please let me know. I'm here and I will, research, through Google because I don't go to the library, but
We'll open our medical annals. I love that word. Annals. Medical annals.
But everybody
We're running while
have a great week. We will see you here next Friday.
Yep.
Sometime around 9 to 10:30 every Friday night here. Be here or be square. Everybody have a great week. See you Friday.
Remember, recovery works if you work it.
Yes.
God
Peace
bless.
out, everybody.